Welcome back to Jotun. The Jotnar are defeated, but before we proceed with the final fight, we must collect and look at the stuff that we failed to do when we were in their respective locations. And we will start with Jotunheim, with Yera's realm, which contains a very neat Easter egg.
Þennan stein hafa verið rist nöfn þeirra sem börðust í nafni Thunder Lotus ættbálksins.
I could have sworn actually that I looked at it before, but So next up, Nidavellir. And this one is a nightmare to navigate, and it's a nightmare to find, and it's the Ithun's apple for this level. So, Muspelheim. I wanted to get this out of the way as quickly as possible, but in the end I did not get this out of the way as quickly as possible. Instead I waited for a long time. So first, Ymir's blood, there's an Ithun's apple here. And there's also a skill altar. If only Thora moved like this all the time. So, next up, the crater. The crater has an Ithun's apple. And I should have cut right to this apple instead of making you wait for another 15 seconds. But hey, more bullshit. And there is also a checkpoint that is right in your way, but that I have completely missed. Okay, so next up is Niflheim. Specifically Jormungandr's lake. And there's some sightseeing to be done here, as well as an Ithun's apple to find. And this Ithun's apple is deceptively hard to find. And now for the prettiest sight in the game. So, next up are the roots of, the branches of Yggdrasil. And there's a familiar sight here.
Eftir eskitrénu endilöngu ratatoskur orð veðurfölnis niður til ormsins níðhögg.
It's literally the same thing as in the higher part of this tree, but it is the squirrel Ratatosk goes from down to up. I completely butchered that, I'm sorry. And yes, this was this Ithun's apple. And now we're done with this. And into the Valknut we go. for the first minute of what is to come, I will be silent and let you enjoy what is easily the best music in the game.
Þóra, dauði þinn var smánarlegur. En hugrekki þitt og þrautsegla hafa leitt þig langan veg. Í þessu gapandi tómi hefur þú ferðast öll ríkin, fundið rúnirnar, sigrað jötnana. Það var ég, Odin, sem gaf þér annað tækifæri þar blóð Þórs flæðir æðar þínar. Láttu þessa miklu gjöf aðstoða þig í loka bardaga þínum, þar sem ég, maður, mun vera loka óvinur þinn. Búðu þig undir bardaga, Þóra. Ekki mistakast að ávinna þér hilli goðanna.
Okay, so Odin is not content on finding us alone, so he needs the help from the other Jotnar. I mean, from the Jotnar, because he himself is not a Jotun. And as you can see, what I'm doing with these Gungnir spears that he throws at me is I try to dodge them, because this is the intuitive thing to do. Unfortunately, it's not reliable, because the margin of error that you get is no more than a fraction of a second. And as a result, it will, half the time, these spears, they're going to actually follow you upon the dodge. And it will be seemingly random. Another thing is that sometimes you just cannot dodge, because, well, you are in the middle of an attack, and Thora unfortunately has some vulnerability frames right after doing something. The only thing that can be cancelled is an overhead slash before you execute the actual slash. Make no mistake, I have been dying here time and again for 40 minutes. And then when I figured out, and by figured out I mean looked up how to do it correctly, I still died like 5 times before getting it done, finally. And sometimes you will get caught in between everything simply because you are unlucky, as always. And now for the way that you are supposed to do this. Yes, I actually got this timing perfect, even though you only get a split second. That's how many times I've gone through this scene. In a moment it will become clear what I'm trying to do. Okay, forget I said anything, it's not clear at all. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to knock these spears while they're in the air. I had to look it up. It's impossible to figure out in gameplay conditions, but it's actually possible to, well, destroy these spears by hitting them, like this. Unfortunately, the only time in the entire game you knock anything out of the air is in Nidavellir, when the large dwarves throw their hammers at you. You can throw those back at them. That's the only time in the entire game you can attack, well, an attack, and you can reflect an attack. And never again do you do anything along those lines. And these spears, they go through everything except the decoy. And the only thing that it comes to the mind is dodging them. Because that's what you're supposed to do with literally everything every single boss throws at you. Well, obviously there probably are people who have figured it out by themselves, either accidentally or by something just clicking in their mind, but let's just say that I am not an outlier. If you look at the Steam discussions for the game, you'll see a lot of people never having figured this out. And even this timing, it's also quite tricky, it's quite finicky. Because I've died multiple times, not as many times, it's not double digits, but I've died 4 or 5 times simply trying to figure out the timing for these attacks. Still, now luck, while still present to some extent, because you will still sometimes be caught in between two spears coming at you from the opposite directions, luck is much less of a factor now. So that's nice. And the fight becomes, well, not easy, but it becomes manageable. I am offended by the fact that Odin does not get hurt by their rage attacks when he himself is right in the way of the shield or in the way of Isa's charge attack. So, Odin's health is running somewhat low, and soon we will come to a point where you have to stop trying to think of any tactics, stop looking at your position, and instead you have to finish the fight as quickly as possible and go completely balls to the wall with all your powers. And again, it's easier said than done, because in order to choose a power you have to look at this bar in the upper left corner of the screen. However, I somehow managed to do this in between all these attacks by the Jotun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a combination of speed and damage power, to which he, like every boss, is quite vulnerable. It also doesn't hurt that I accidentally knock a spear out of the sky while trying to smack Odin. And now the final stretch, and I just go to hell with it and throw a couple of Gungnir. So kill him with his own weapon.
Þú hefur áunnið þér hilli goðanna. þú víkingur og sæktu verðlaunin.
Það var ég sem ferðaðist Ginnungagap og naut blessunar boðanna. Það var ég sem sigraði jötnana í stórfenglegum bardögum og sannaði mig fyrir Óðni vegna að ávinna mér sæti í Valhöll. Ég er Þóra í jötnabani.
Yeah, I am not sure about glorious combat. It's more accurate to say that you have defeated the Jotun in combat. Still, this is the game, this is it. There's nothing else, there's nothing interesting after the credits. So this is somewhat of an anticlimactic ending. And normally in Let's Plays this is where the afterword comes. But I am not yet done with the game. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.